Hello guys, Dale here again. Welcome to the channel. So today I would like to do a guide and some basic gameplay of probably my most favorite character, and that's the Ice Queen Amazon. Now, she's a really fun character, don't get me wrong, she's a really fun character, but she doesn't really have a niche of herself. Like, it's not like she's great for Pindle, she's great for MF, she's great for Uber, she's great for Chaos runs. She does a lot of that stuff okay, but she doesn't do any of that stuff real well, but she's super fun. It's a super fun build, right? It's a very nostalgic build. I remember I remember having this build in Diablo 2 Legacy when the rune words first started coming out, right? And I had a great time. I had a blast, and I still do. The only thing in this build that's different from what I had in Legacy is the Thunder Charm, right? Thunder Charms are a Diablo 2 Resurrected thing. It didn't exist in Diablo 2 Legacy, so that's the only difference right now from my build now than from my build 15 years ago, 10 years ago when I was playing. So let's quickly take a look at the gear. So her gear, we have ice. Ice is probably the main part of her gear, and a lot of people will want Grand Matron bow, and a lot of people like the GMB because it has a little more punch, a little bit higher attack, but it's also slower. So to hit the IAS, the increased attack speed breakpoints, you're gonna have to stack on more IAS either from your gear, right? So I chose the Mat Bow. I like Mat Bow for almost all of my Amazons. So in Faith, in Ice, in Brand, all those rune words, because it's a lot easier to hit the IAS breakpoints. Now on this build, we're gonna hit the second last breakpoint, which is 75 IAS. So with this bow, the last breakpoint is 142 IAS, and to hit really that IAS, you're gonna need some super high-end gear like a 160-60, 120-45, 160-60 armor, 120-45 helmet, stuff like that to really help pump up your IAS numbers. So for more of a budget build, I chose to hit the second last IAS breakpoint, which is 75 IAS. Now inherently on this rune word, you get 20 IAS, right? On the helmet, Nightwings, I have a 15 IAS jewel, a 15 IAS 31 ED jewel. So another 15 IAS here. Highlords, we're getting the 20 IAS. Chains of Honor. Our gloves, we're gonna get 20 IAS. I know a lot of people would want to go after the 2 to passive, but 2 to passive with the 20 IAS and knockback is ridiculously expensive. Very hard to find, it's really hard to craft, so it demands a higher tax bracket, it demands a higher payment. We got Ravenfrost, Manalds, Razortails for the piercing attack, we'll look at that later, and Gores. That's a gear on swap again. You're gonna have just a regular CTA and a little lidless. Why I chose lidless over a spirit is the investment for strength, right? Lidless needs 58 strength. For a monarch spirit, you're gonna need, I don't know, almost double, triple the strength, right? So I don't want to invest a lot into strength. Most of my points went into dex, so I chose just a lidless for the +1 in skills. Now the charms we're going to look at, we have Cold Sunder, and we have passive charms. So passive 21, passive 38, passive to dex, a bow charm with some gold, another passive 4 dex, and a cold res life charm. We're going to just, the small charms, cold, run walk, FHR, run walk, life, cold, AR, a little bit of poison, and cold. So we're stacking cold because of the Thunder Charm, right? It's gonna drop your cold resist -70. So right now we have 18% cold res. So with the Sunder, you take the Sunder, you hit max cold res, right? Because our Chains of Honor is giving us 65 to resistance, right? But I want to keep the Sunder, so I'm gonna have to take a hit in the cold res. So that's the gear. Let's look at the skill tree, right? We have nothing into Javelin. In passive, we have 2 points into passive to hit 65 crit strike. We have maxed out penetrate to bump our AR. And then we have 1 into pierce. Now we stacked that passive because we want to get 100% pierce. So our skill tree is going to give us 80% pierce. And then our Razortail is going to give us 33% pierce. So that's going to put us over 100% pierce. Every single arrow she's going to shoot, it's going to pierce, right? So from our skill tree, we only put 1 point into it, right? 1 base point into it, and we have max pierce. That's from inherently from our gears. We get +2 here, we get +2 here, we get +2 here, +2 here, +1 here, right? Then our passive charms here, plus the Annie torch, stuff like that, right? So we want to be able to max out pierce for our freezing arrow. We want our freezing arrow to pierce through and do as much damage as possible. And for the immunes and a little bit of crowd control, we're going to look at strafe. So back to the skill tree. Point into pierce, maxed out penetrate, 2 points into crit strike, point into dodge, point into avoid, point into evade. Just everything else is 1 point wonders, right? The only thing we're dumping skill points into is penetrate. Now our bow skill tree. We're going to max out cold arrow, because it's a synergy to freezing arrow. We're going to max out freezing arrow, and we're going to max out strafe. Other than that, it's one hit wonders. So that's what we're looking at right now. I have a couple of points into guided arrow. I was doing a little bit of testing on the build, but most of our points are maxed out strafe, maxed out cold arrow, maxed out freezing arrow, 1 point wonders into everything else, a couple extra points into guided arrow. So those are our skill trees. Now let's look at our mercenary. Our mercenary is currently wearing no armor. He has an Andes with a Rao to mitigate that that negative fire res, and an infinity. I do have a fortitude for him, but I need to pump up my levels a couple more for him to get his extra strength, for him to level up, so I can put on a fortitude for him. But he still does fine in chaos and stuff like that. But this is a work in progress, but I feel like I've worked out the kinks. I really like where it is, and that's why I decided to make the video. So we have a GT Infinity and an Andes. Let's look at our skill tree. Our skill tree, we have 48 into strength, 171 into dex, 241 into vitality, 65 into energy. Just enough strength for a gear, right? And split between dex and vitality. Now, this is almost just enough for a gear also, because our ice mat bow needs 187 points into dexterity. So we need 187 points into dexterity so she can use the bow. So this is at 171, and because we're getting inherent dexterity from our gear, we're getting dexterity from our Nightwings, right? 11 to dex, dexterity from Torch, dexterity from Annie, dexterity from Ravenfrost. So we're getting dexterity from other places too, but we have 171 base points because it's a high dex requirement for the mad bow, right? We have 241 points into vitality and 94 into energy. Now, important stats here, important parts of the advanced stats. We have knockback, which is really good when you're using strafe. She has some rep life, right? Rep life from here, her gloves, stuff like that, just to heal along the way, even though she has a lot of mana leech and life leech. She has 15 to life leech, 7 to mana. What I found with the Manald, why is she's wearing a Manald? Because I was burning through mana really fast. Because our freezing arrow is 17 mana per arrow. and she's firing them out so fast. I was finding I'm running out of mana really fast. So to mitigate that, we're using the Manald to leech mana. We have knockback, and that's 75 IAS. So again, guys, we want 75 IAS because that's the second last breakpoint for the mat bow, right? Then we have 10% open wounds, 15% crushing blow. From here, our inherent stats from Goreriders, 67% of deadly strike, and then that 33 piercing attack. That 33 piercing attack coming from our Razortail, but again, her passive skills is giving us 80% of piercing attack, and they stack. So 100% of her attack is piercing attack, right? And of course, her cold damage. She has 41% to cold skill and minus 20 cold negative enemy cold res, right? And that's coming from her Nightwings and from the ice. So that's it. That's her gear, right? Now let's check out some gameplay. So we're gonna do my favorite thing to do is River Flame. Let's just get our battle orders out here. Battle orders good. Get our Valkyrie out. Valkyrie out. And let's test it out. So since she doesn't have Enigma, we have to walk chaos. So you can see we're making small work out of all the monsters here. Let's maybe this is a bear. Good base. Let's. So that's one of the downsides of this build. With the Enigma, we have to walk everywhere we're going. Ooh, runic time. Save that for later. But you can see every one of our arrows pierces. And you can really see the speed of the arrows. Arrows here. But once we get going, right? If you guys can notice, we have that 25% of Frost Nova when striking. Right? So as we're striking, we have a 25% chance to cast Frost Nova. And with the speed we're attacking, Frost Nova is just proccing faster than you can imagine. Right? Just Frost Nova everywhere. So once we get going, we get a nice cluster of baddies here. Frost Nova is just proccing all over the place. Right? Let me try to get that in frame better. But if you can see, we have Frost Nova just proccing everywhere. And really helping with the DPS. We gotta find us ourselves some arrows. How you doing? How do we get? That's too much of a walk. I'm not even gonna bother here.
Impossible.
And we're out of arrows. Let's quickly run away. Get us some arrows. And really show her at work.
What do you need?
Arrows. Get our gear while we're here. And already our BO arrows right here. A nice mob of guys here, and you can really see the Frost Nova proccing now. Right. And this is such a fun build. I know it's a slow build, a little bit of a clunky build, but no, we haven't used one potion yet. Our life and our mana is at max, right? And you can see this Frost Nova is just going to town. Right? Frost Nova is just proccing because she's just firing these arrows so fast. Right? So for mobs like this, I mostly just use strafe, and for really close single bosses like maybe Diablo, stuff like that, I'll switch from strafe to ice. But even the strafe, even though it's only 1775, it's mowing down the baddies real fast. The Frost Nova helps, right? Fire a couple of ice arrows and strafe the rest. But we're really pounding here. And this is players 1. I know some people are gonna say, oh, this is only players 1. This is only players 1. How's she gonna perform on 9? And I joined a Bale game where it's full. Everyone was on Bale, and I tried doing the chaos, and it wasn't that much harder. Because you gotta remember, she's leeching a lot of life, because her arrows are so fast. Right? She's leeching a lot of life. She's leeching a lot of mana. Right? Her aura is slowing down all the monsters, and it's just a bloodbath, you know. And you can see in areas like this, she's just mowing down these guys. Right? The more baddies, the better. And the only thing a hindrance for her is when we do run out of arrows. But that's very few and far between. You just gotta keep an eye on your arrows. Other than that, she'll perform, right? So again, we haven't used one potion yet, right? We have Grand Vizier and the boys here, and again, boom, right? She's just mowing these guys down, and the Infinity really does help. It breaks the immunities, right? Her Thunder Charm breaks immunities, and we're not really using that Frozen Arrow really a lot. Right? More of a strafe, a couple frozen arrows in between, and strafe. Every single arrow is going to pass through. And compound, right? So boom. We hit all the seals. We're going to go see our buddy Diablo. Right? Let's do a quick BO. Even our Valkyrie's alive somehow. She's our 1.1 Valkyrie. And that's fine. Wonder. That's it. Diablo's done. You know, no running around with pots. This is a very viable build. This is a very fun build. It's a little bit expensive. You have a jaw and low in ice. You got a 3115 in this Nightwings. Got the Burr Rune in the Chains of Honor. Stuff like that, right? But it's relatively cheap. It's relatively cheap compared to, like, even if you want to run a Hammered in, you would want to have an Enigma, right? If you want to run a Nova Sorc or even Lightning Sorc, whatever sorcery you want, your mercenary needs to have an Infinity. If it's a Lightning Source, you want to have Griffins. So it's relatively cheap. You know, it's not like you need to have a 160-60, a 120-45, a crazy GMB ice that's perfect to make this build viable. The bigger the mobs, the better, because your Frost Nova is gonna proc 25% per strike for Frost Nova, and since your arrows are penetrating, that counts as a strike for each time it penetrates and hits another baddie, right? So your strafe is just banging arrows out and rocking that Frost Nova all over the place. So again, this is my most favorite build, a build that I've had in D2 Classic, and now I have now. I'm super happy. It's a little bit hard to find an ice in Tradery or even the unnamed website, you know, the FG website. It's a little bit hard to find an ice because not a lot of people are going to invest the runes into it. So your best bet, farm a Burr, farm a Jaw, farm a Low, take your ice, and have fun. So again, thanks for watching my video. I hope you guys found it entertaining and informative, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.